Well, I've known Bill for 17 years, the entire time I've been at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central New Hampshire.
It's been my pleasure to know Bill Chapman for just about 15 years. We have served together for many of those years as members of the board of New Hampshire Public Radio.
I've known Bill since I became the executive director of Kimball Jenkins 3 years ago.
Some of Bill's best qualities really is the modesty. I think you'll probably hear that over and over again in the evening, but just a very quiet person behind the scenes, but he leads. He doesn't have to be out front.
It would be very hard to think of Kimball Jenkins without thinking of Bill Chapman's leadership.
It's interesting, the New Hampshire nonprofit community is a relatively small one, and we bump into one another from time to time in different places, and you're always comparing, well, who's on your board now and who's your chair and so on and so forth. And it's remarkable the number of times Bill Chapman's name comes up.
He really helps us with the day-to-day operations, along with scholarships for summer and for our after-school program. He always turns it around and saying, yeah, I know this might be recognizing me, but I really want to recognize everybody else in the work of the firm that makes it possible for us to be able to support the community.
I think one of the things that strikes me about Bill, and I recall this from my very first meeting with him, is his kindness. And there's a twinkle in Bill's eye.
In thinking about Bill Chapman and looking for a word or phrase that would sum him up, I had to go back to my New York roots and rediscover the word mensch, which is the Jewish word for man, but it means much more than that. It means somebody who takes responsibility for things, someone who's kind, someone who leads with his heart and head, but rarely with his ego.
Oh, my best Bill story is when I went to him as part of the capital campaign for New Hampshire Public Radio to ask him for a contribution. Because here I was asking the premier donor seeker, if you will, for a gift. And for the first time in my life, and I'm a former campus president used to asking people for money, I was almost tongue-tied. But once again, Bill's kindness shone through, and he was just a wonderful person to work with.
Bill, it's well-deserved, this honor of being the Chamber Citizen of the Year.
Bill, I know this is going to go right to your head.
Well, Bill, I know you'll be very embarrassed by this honor.
I'm sure that after this event, you will be unrecognizable to those of us who saw you as a quiet, refined gentleman.
But the truth is that in recognizing a Citizen of the Year, a community is also saying something to itself. And that is, it is reminding itself of those qualities that we should all attempt to emulate as being good citizens of our community. So for that, Bill, we congratulate you, and in a way we remind ourselves of what our future obligations are. All the best.
Governor Chris Sununu is New Hampshire's 82nd governor and is serving his first term as the state's chief executive. He's currently the youngest governor in the country. During his first year in office, Governor Sununu took pride in delivering a balanced state budget without new taxes or fees and establishing full-day kindergarten. Governor Sununu also doubled funds to fight the opioid crisis. The governor grew up in Salem, New Hampshire, graduated from MIT with a BS in civil and environmental engineering, and worked for 10 years cleaning up hazardous waste sites. Governor Sununu lives in Newfields with his wife Valerie and their 3 children. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Governor Chris Sununu.
All right. Well, thank you very much. How do you get the big $12 billion budget government to have a system that focuses on individuals? That's what we're trying to bring in this kind of new mentality. The regulatory reform, right? The regulatory mess that was part of New Hampshire was one of the reasons I ran for governor. I was running my own business. It was crazy. And we were doing things very well. I'm a former environmental engineer. I take that the responsibility of the environment very seriously. But boy, we were getting bashed on by DES and Department of Labor and all these departments for nothing, right? And I thought, boy, if we're a really good steward and we're getting beat up on like this, and it's costing us tens of thousands of dollars in lawyers just to get through a process that we shouldn't be in the first place, what about those that don't have the resources? What about those small businesses that can't afford it? So we're going through, and we have a bill right now, a kind of a three-phased approach. First phase, let me back up. First phase was last year. We took 1,600 rules and regulations, threw them away. We absolutely just threw them right off the books with an executive order. Phase 2 is going on right now. The most comprehensive regulatory reform bill the state has ever seen. It streamlines permitting. It streamlines licensure. It allows better reciprocity for professionals in other states to come in without having to wait 6 months to get licensed to practice whatever they're practicing, because pretty much every profession in the state is licensed. That's a problem in itself. And phase 3 next year will be going after streamlining a better business model for the state. How does the state interact with businesses, put out contracts, things like that, right? So we're in phase 2, and it's going to be phenomenal. I mean, it's going to save every builder, developer, and business in the state, but we are a state of community. We are a state that believes that coming to the chamber lunches matters, because you build relationships, and you build relationships in your towns, and you know your selectmen, and you control the bulk of your tax base because you're at that local level. We participate in town meetings. That is what makes New Hampshire so different. And that's the power of this state. And what is that all about? Personal relationships. We believe in that. When you build those personal relationships, it's hard to get bogged down in that negative polarization of Washington. Don't let the dysfunction of Washington define who we are as Granite Staters. We're better than that. Look, we're right down the road, room 208, corner office. You know, seriously, that's where we are. Come find us. Let us know what we can how we can keep doing it better. At the end of the day, it's really about having that individual response back to create better policy for better outcomes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
When you talk about workforce, I have a process to where I go out and I actually meet with businesses, I meet with business leaders, talk to them about what their needs are, what their relationships with the city, and one of the reoccurring themes I always hear is about workforce.
I think that right now the information is such that Keno will not notably affect the expenses of the city and will not notably affect city services, so it's not something that the city council needs to deal with. It's something that is, you know, each individual has to decide for themselves whether it's a good or bad thing for the city.
I am all for immigrants. Manchester, in my opinion, is a microcosm of what this country is all about. It's an immigration center. We would not be here if it weren't for immigration.
There's nobody that chooses to be homeless, right? They might make poor choices, but it goes back to what I said originally about the lack of mental health services in this community. Those poor decisions or unfortunate decisions, however we want to categorize them, are the result of the lack of other resources. So I'm not sure about a short-term solution to a cold weather shelter, but I can tell you a long-term solution involves getting those folks the services they need.
I advocate for sound policies that will lead to economic growth and to opportunity for people.
I've been going door to door in the South End and talking to people. And ironically enough, I'm a little surprised that the people's priorities are a little bit different than the council. Not that far off, but a little bit different.
We had done quite a bit of work with the board to gather information from Eversource and residents and all stakeholders to determine how this project would roll out and how it would look for the communities, as well as environmental issues.
When I first moved to Concord, New Hampshire, one of the things that I realized is that Concord, or New Hampshire at large, is not really that diverse. One of the things that I'm grateful for is that over the years, over the last 4 or 5 years, I've noticed a drastic change in that.
That would probably be the first thing that we would do as a budget, as a school board. We would sit and look at that budget and look at areas that we have profound spending and look at ways to streamline that spending, be more efficient with it.
I think we need to allow the negotiation process to take place and have people agree on common ground.
We know that we want full day K. We can't, on the heels of that, turn around and say, oh, by the way, we're going to spend another $70+ million on a middle school in the probably foreseeable future. It's going to come. More than likely, something's going to happen.
As a teacher, when you have competency-based grading, if you're teaching in sort of a transient population, when a new student comes to you, you know what they know, again. So when it's time to grade a new student, then you have this information already in front of you, whether it's pen and paper or a new form of test taking.
Right now we are in Ward 2, so some of the people who are voting in Ward 2 are in the Concord School District, some of the people are in the Merrimack Valley School District, so you have to make sure you know what school district you're in to ask for the right ballot to make sure that you can vote for school board if you are in the Concord School District. You know, every voter that I talked to had some comment one way or the other about their tax rates, and these are the elections where the people who are deciding your tax rates are getting voted into office. So that if you are paying attention to how much you're paying in taxes and you want to make sure you understand the reasons why those tax rates exist, then these are the elections for you to be paying attention to.
It's important for all people to vote. You know what, Concord? You should be really proud of yourself. For an off election, if we cross over 10% of the votes, that would be amazing.
It's a great day. We hope that everyone who's listening comes out to vote today and show your civic duty in each of your wards today.
I think it's important to vote because that is your first real part to make changes in Concord, for you to have your voice heard.
Turnout has been moderate, and that's good. We've got important elections today for mayor and council and school board. You know, a lot of the things we do in Concord have direct impact on the voters in what they're going to pay in property taxes and the quality of life. And I think people realize that in the city of Concord and always take elections seriously, but especially our municipal elections.
We've been here all morning, and I have to say it's been a nice steady trickle of people coming in to vote. People are getting in and out quickly. There's not a long line, so I encourage everybody to get out, vote. It's really important to be part of the process. That's actually one of the reasons I'm running, is I just feel it's important to participate in local government.
Here in the United States, we make a difference in government, even though some of us get very upset with some things that go on, but without participating in the election, we've given up that right.
I think it's important because in Concord, you have representation that really wants to hear from you. And so I think that, getting out and meeting the candidates and ensuring that you are using your voice to tell the officials the direction that you think that Concord should be going in. I think it's really important, and candidates listen.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another great day in the city, right? So, it is great to be back, and hopefully we will keep you thoroughly entertained. I was entertained this morning just seeing the old picture of myself up there where I still had hair, so maybe we should probably update that in the future, because I haven't seen that much hair on top of my head in a long time. So, what I was hoping to accomplish this morning, and I want to make sure we get through this quickly so we can take questions and such. I wanted to show you one that we actually listen at the city, and more often than not, I find this day and age, people think, why would I go participate? Why do I go to the city? And they don't care, they don't listen. We do listen. In December of 2015, the Chamber gave us their Economic Strategies Task Force report. And I am proud to say that if you go down this list, you will find that we have accomplished all of these tasks. We have funded a position for economic development, and we filled that with Susie Pegg. Where are you, Susie? There you go. She's back there. So she's not shy. If you've seen her dance, you definitely know she's not shy. We put together our work plan, and we've established that, and we've funded that by the city council has also funded that in their budget. We talked a lot about Main Street, and in the past we just did a lot of high fives and how great it looked and how wonderful it created a sense of community. But now the question becomes, did it actually accomplish, and is it accomplishing the desired effect that we were looking for? With the application, there were a lot of goals that we needed to set out. For instance, we talked about the Main Street storefront vacancies, and we've been able to reduce the vacancies thus far from 10% to 6%. We had a goal in that application of adding at least 2 new restaurants, and I'm pleased to announce we've had 5 new restaurants have been added.
Reporting on some project we're finishing up. We're finishing up the Keach Park pool. This is back to a quality of life issue, and the whole idea of if you make your community have a great quality of life, that people will move here, businesses will move here. That has been something the council has focused on for the last dozen or so years. There's 7 neighborhood pools. They all were built essentially during the WPA era, and it's time to replace them. This is a rendering or schematic essentially from Turner Group, who's we're working with Milestone on opening our new multi-generational community center in June. This will be really the first one the city has ever had. What we've done in the past is repurposed existing buildings, whether they're old armories or fire stations or whatever they may be, to try to look like a community center and function like a community center, but never really met our needs. So this project is on time, on budget.
So on Tuesday morning, I met with 10 people from the faith community, and they asked, how can we help? What can we do? And when you start going through, we live in a wonderful community, but you start digging down a little deeper. I mean, we have all the same issues that any other community has. So, one specific example for me, I am incredibly grateful of the efforts of the Concord Coalition to End Homelessness. And for all of you who've contributed to putting in an emergency shelter for the winter. But that shelter, unlike the last 3 years, will not be able to welcome families. And we typically have between 3 to 5 families who present themselves each winter. And I don't know what I'm going to do about that. So that's one of those things. We have a growing elderly population. Programs like Meals on Wheels are critically important to make sure that somebody is reaching out and touching those folks to make sure they're checked on and they're safe and they're okay. So, I can't tell you enough, just check with your neighbor, talk to your neighbors. There's a whole host of things like that we feel as any other city feels. But the positive upside to that is we have incredible programs in the city that do tremendous work to make sure that people are safe.
Thank you again, Mayor, City Manager.
My experience with the leadership of Concord has been extremely eye-opening. There's so much around you that you don't even understand or know or you're not aware of. Something as simple as turning on the water faucet and what it actually entails and how that actually gets there and the process and what they have to go through in getting that there for you, to fully understanding and appreciating the police officers and their day-to-day jobs.
Leadership Greater Concord has been a great program for me as well. And I've been so grateful to meet all of the people, both in my class and that we've gotten to meet. I'm so excited for what's going on in Concord right now and the future, which both we've been learning about. And it's been a great experience so far.
It has been an amazing experience so far, getting to learn lots of things about Concord I had no idea, as well as meeting some very amazing people and making new friends.
I never realized from enrolling in this program what a intricate and interconnected community that Concord is. And for anybody, as an advertisement for the program, is looking to get a better understanding of Concord, of what it has to offer, the rich history and cultural diversity of the city, I highly encourage you to do so.
Concord leadership has been an amazing experience, learning about my community and getting to know a lot of different people, different walks of life, and learning about resources. It's just been a lot of fun.
I've learned so much from Leadership Greater Concord so far. Every day I leave inspired and grateful and excited for all the opportunities that I know are coming in Concord, and it makes me really proud to be part of the community in Concord and Greater Concord.
Being in Leadership Concord has been a really great experience for me. It's been a great opportunity to see what the city of Concord has to offer in all aspects of life. Just when I thought I knew everything about Concord, every month we have learned something else about whether it be communications or the way that our city runs. And it's just been a really awesome experience. And the people I've met have been terrific. So I'm just really thankful for the opportunity.
I've worked for the city for 20 years and didn't realize how many other inner workings there are as part of Concord. So far the program has been very interesting and very informative and very educational. Starting with our retreat weekend right through, we've done 4 different months so far.
It's been a fantastic ride. We've learned a lot in the community, and I enjoy myself every time we visit a different location.
I am not originally from Concord and recently joined the Concord business community, and I've learned so much about the area, twofold. First, as to the things that are operating around us that we don't think about, the police department, the government units and so forth, and also all that Concord has to offer. I was amazed at how much Concord offers the community that is right there, but until the program I didn't realize was available to us.
Leadership is an amazing tale about an incredible city. If you have a passion about Concord, you should sign up today. You'll be taken through Concord's past, present, future. It's like a great novel. You won't want to put it down. And the cast of characters is something that Dickens wouldn't be able to write himself. So jump in, get on board with Leadership Greater Concord. You'll be forever changed by its story.
So our white perch, we are pretty fortunate in New Hampshire. We have a very unique fishery, New England, Northeast in general, but Lake Winnipesaukee has some enormous white perch in it. They're some of the largest white perch anywhere in North America. They say if you look statistically, the average size of white perch is 6 inches. They're typically a brackish water fish, and I haven't caught very many 6-inch white perch in Lake Winnipesaukee. So they're, 1.5 to 2 pounds is usually the average. 3+ pounds is not uncommon. Those are 3-pound fish. And I will dispel one myth right now because I get this question a lot. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Are those fish photoshopped? No, they're not.
And so there are over 130 species of butterflies in New Hampshire. And this came from work that New Hampshire Audubon did back in 2013 to compile reports from people who are surveying, other personal amateur experts that go out. There are some people that have been monitoring butterflies in New Hampshire for 30 years, just going to the same places every year. But we actually don't have any formal way that we've captured their data before. So this was really a fantastic effort that Audubon did and that we'd like to build on.
You can hear this one, and then you can hear this one. Different pitch, different wood, different sound. Those are all short boxes. But again, from day to day, and then depending on your conditions, if it's windy, you might want something a little bit more high pitched that screams to cut through that. And where we have, a lot of fragmented forest, and there's some decent terrain here in New Hampshire, that sound's not going to carry as far. And the acoustics in a hardwood stand is different than, a white pine stand where you're at. So just having the different options.
So just a few things to remember as we go through this. Striped bass are pack hunters. I like talking about stripers because they're the closest cousin to the white perch, and I love catching white perch almost as much, more than I like to catch stripers probably. But
sea run white bird?
no, I usually all winter long we chase them on Winnipesaukee, but they behave very similarly to striped bass. They're pack hunters, and there's a hierarchy. So if you're getting into a school of fish and they're all 20-inch fish or 26-inch fish or they're all 30-inch fish, there will be bigger fish with them, and they're typically going to be on the outside of the school or at the bottom of the school. So if you're getting into a lot of one-size fish and you want to try to pick away at some of those bigger fish, try to fish the outsides of the school or get your lure down or your bait down to the bottom of the school if you can.
Good. Okay. So this is a buteo. This is one of the other groups of raptors that I mentioned before. He is a diurnal. That means active in the daytime. Anybody know which species he is? Yeah, I heard it. Yes. Red-tailed hawk. How many of you seen a red-tailed hawk? Yeah. Probably, the most ubiquitous bird across the United States. You could go to New Mexico, California, and they're pretty much range-wide in the United States.
It's a good thing our business plan relies so much on idling in traffic. Said no company ever.
Every day we lose hours just trying to commute to work. Hours.
It's eating away at our productivity. And my CrossFit time.
I miss places that aren't the inside of a car, bus, or train.
Hello. Do you know companies in Concord, New Hampshire benefit from being close to the big cities in the Northeast without the big city headache?
We're at the summit of the Northeast Business Corridor, you know.
That's very nice. But also, we're not an Uber, so...
No, but I'm sure you would enjoy some pastries and coffee from one of our coffee shops in Concord. The way you sat in this traffic, you're going to need it. And when you get really fed up of this, you come and see me. You know where to find me. Toodles.
Toodles.
I'm walking, you know, I'm walking.
How did she get on the highway? That was weird.
Agreed. These pastries are really good, though. Huh? Take care. You know, I really miss our car. At least it had windows.
Look at this. We're poised to grow, but when we keep spending money just to keep this tiny office.
I forgot to mention that Concord has office space for immediate occupation to suit your business needs.
Are you following us?
No. And within 67 square miles within its borders, an idea has real room to grow in Concord.
And what makes you think we're not already living that reality?
Have you seen your office or lack of it? I get it. You want a place where you can grow and thrive your business. But I can tell you, Concord is one of the best places you can grow your business. And we want to see you there.
Okay. I'm listening.
This wonderful city of Concord is calling out to the next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs. As the state capital with no personal income tax, sales tax, and low business taxes, Concord offers your business a unique advantage benefiting your bottom line. The city government offers a variety of economic development incentives and is committed to working closely with new and expanding businesses who are seeking to invest in Concord, but also invest in themselves.
Yeah, that sounds great, but I know our employees are going to expect a certain quality of life here, like great food, recreation, culture, so...
We understand that green communities and access to nature matters to those looking for that new urban living. Concord has it all. This award-winning city is a regional hub of culture with an outstanding performing arts theatre and public and private art galleries. We also have 7,000 acres of city conservation land, over 80 miles of hiking, biking and running trails, 27 parks and 7 public pools, and access to 4 rivers. As a regional hub of shopping, medical services and recreational activities, we're sure you will find something to love about Concord. An inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable place to call home.
This is sounding really good.
Yeah, you know, I gotta admit, I'm pretty intrigued.
How do we learn more?
Well, funny you should ask. I've got these fabulous brochures and an absolutely great website. I'd love for you to know more.
The City of Concord has just launched a set of new marketing tools for anyone to learn more about the opportunities here. Go to www.investconcordnh.com to learn more and watch some great videos from key people in the city. You can even shoot me an email straight from the website or email me direct at speg, that's S-P-E-G-G, @concordnh.gov. If you want to come and explore in person, then we also have a newly established business strike force where we can bring in our business leaders to talk to you in person or even walk you through some of these opportunities face to face using a brand new PowerPoint which can be tailored to your interests.
Concord is at the summit of New England's business corridor. Come and unlock your business potential here. Welcome to the neighborhood, kids.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Susie.
Susie.
Toodles.